Blazing Saddles isn't just a movie, it's a chaotic, offensive, revolutionary, and hilarious piece of film history that pushed every boundary it could find. Directed by Mel Brooks and released in 1974, this Western parody turned the genre inside out while tackling race, politics, and Hollywood itself in ways no one had dared before. What's even weirder than the movie itself? The bizarre, fascinating stories that happen behind the scenes. Here are the weirdest things you probably didn't know about Blazing Saddles. 1. It almost had a completely different and wildly inappropriate name. Mel Brooks is known for being outrageous, but even he raised eyebrows when he originally wanted to title the film Tex X, a parody of Malcolm X. The film was also briefly considered under the name Black Bart, which ended up being the name of the protagonist. Eventually, Brooks landed on Blazing Saddles, which has nothing to do with the story but somehow perfectly captures the film's wild energy. He admitted that it just sounded like a Western, which was enough for him too. It was the first movie to use a fart joke as a centerpiece. Before Blazing Saddles, flatulence was a taboo subject on screen. Enter the infamous campfire scene, a bunch of cowboys eating beans and passing gas like it's an Olympic event. This was groundbreaking and ground-rumbling comedy. Studios tried to cut it, but Brooks refused. It's now a legendary scene that opened the door to bathroom humor in mainstream movies. 3. Mel Brooks made the Native Americans speak Yiddish. One of the more surreal moments in the film features Native Americans speaking Yiddish with subtitles. It's absurd, culturally twisted, and unmistakably Brooks. In fact, he plays the Indian chief himself in full red face. While it would never fly today, it was a bizarre commentary on the already absurd portrayals of indigenous people in old westerns. 4. Gene Wilder wasn't the first choice for the Waco Kid. The role of the Waco Kid, the whiskey-soaked gunslinger, was originally played by Gig Young. On the first day of filming, Young delivered his lines, then promptly collapsed. Turns out he was actually drunk and suffering from alcohol withdrawal. He was replaced immediately, and Gene Wilder was flown in last minute to save the role. His performance is now one of the most iconic in comedy history. 5. Richard Pryor helped write the script but wasn't allowed to star. Richard Pryor co-wrote Blazing Saddles and was originally Brooks' first choice to play Bart, the black sheriff. But the studio wouldn't allow it, worried about Pryor's reputation for substance abuse and off-screen unpredictability. Instead, Cleavon Little got the role, still delivering a brilliant performance, but Pryor's voice echoes through the film's sharp racial humor and clever one-liners. 6. The title song was sung by a man who had no idea it was a comedy. Frankie Lane, a famous Western balladeer, was brought in to sing the film's dramatic title song. Brooks didn't tell him it was a parody. Wayne performed it with full sincerity, belting out lyrics like he was in the Magnificent Seven. The result? A pitch-perfect contrast between serious Western themes and the ridiculousness of the film. 7. A real person accidentally walked into the climax and stayed in the movie at the end of the film. A chaotic fight spills out of the Western set and into the Warner Brothers backlot. During this madcap finale, an actual studio employee is seen walking through the set, completely unaware that filming was happening. Instead of cutting the shot, Brooks kept it in because, of course, he did. 8. John Wayne turned down a role because it was too dirty. Mel Brooks personally offered the role of the Waco Kid to John Wayne, hoping the biggest name in westerns would lend the film credibility. Wayne read the script, laughed, and told Brooks he loved it but couldn't be in it. "It's too dirty," he said, "but I'll be first in line to see it." 9. The governor was named after a fart performer. The absurdly clueless Governor Le Pettemain, played by Mel Brooks, is actually named after a real-life French performer from the 1800s who was famous for, yes, his farting ability. Joseph Pujol, a.k.a. Le Pettemain, performed flatulence-based stage acts to sold-out crowds. Brooks thought it was a perfect, weird homage. 10. The studio wanted it censored and almost shelved it when Warner Brothers first saw the film. Executives panicked. The racial slurs, the sexual innuendo, the flatulence, it was all too much. Brooks was pressured to cut several scenes. He removed a few seconds here and there, but refused to gut the movie's spirit. Studio execs even considered shelving it. But when it was screened for general staff at the studio, they howled with laughter and the studio changed its mind. 11. The studio didn't want to release it in the South because of the film's heavy racial satire and controversial language. Warner Bros. Initially feared releasing Blazing Saddles in the southern United States. They thought it would spark outrage. Or worse. Ironically, the film became a massive hit everywhere, including the South, because audiences understood it was mocking racism, not promoting it. 12. The horse punch was based on a true story. Iconic scene where Mongo punches a horse and knocks it out wasn't just cartoonishly funny, it was inspired by a real incident. Comedy legend Sid Caesar once punched a horse during a bar fight. Yes, really. Mel Brooks heard the story and decided it absolutely had to be in the movie. Animal welfare groups protested, but the horse was trained to fall and wasn't harmed. 13. The director played multiple roles in disguise. Mel Brooks didn't just direct Blazing Saddles, he also acted in it. He played both Governor Lapidamane and the Yiddish-speaking Indian chief. His appearances are over the top and campy, but many viewers didn't even realize it was Brooks under the makeup and costumes. It's one of the weirdest double cameos. In comedy history. 14. A TV spin-off actually happened, but flopped instantly. Probably didn't know there was a TV spin-off of Blazing Saddles called Black Bart. It aired as a pilot with the same absurd premise, but none of the original cast or creative team. It was so poorly received that it was never picked up. In fact, most fans have no idea it even existed. 15. It breaks the fourth wall in the most unhinged way possible. The climax of the movie breaks the fourth wall, then smashes it with a sledgehammer. The characters literally run off the set of their movie and into other movies, a commissary, and even a real theater showing Blazing Saddles. It's the kind of meta-humor that modern filmmakers still try to imitate, but few pull it off with the same chaotic brilliance. 16. The film was nearly rated X because of the language, sexual innuendo, and especially the racial slurs. Blazing Saddles flirted with an X rating. Brooks fought hard to keep it at an R, arguing that the offensive content was being used to make a point about racism, not to glorify it. He won, but it was a close call. 17. It was added to the National Film Registry for being culturally significant. In a strange twist of fate, this filthy, rowdy, wildly inappropriate comedy was added to the Library of Congress National Film Registry in 2006. It was recognized as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. That's right, a movie with fart jokes and fake horses is now considered a cornerstone of American cinema. 18. Obama said he watched it illegally. Even President Barack Obama once shared that he watched Blazing Saddles as a teenager despite being too young to get into an R-rated movie. He used a fake ID and laughed until he cried. The movie's impact runs deep, and its commentary on race and society was clearly not lost on him. 19. It was almost banned from TV for years. Blazing Saddles couldn't air on network television without major edits. The campfire scene was cut. The racial slurs were removed or dubbed over, and entire jokes were deleted. Watching the TV version was like seeing a neutered version of a tiger. It still looked cool, but it lost all its teeth. 20. It remains one of the most quoted and most controversial films ever. Few films are quoted more frequently than Blazing Saddles. From badges? We don't need no stinking badges. To excuse me while I whip this out, the film is a treasure trove of quotable one-liners, but it's also frequently debated. Could it be made today? Should it have been made at all? Brooks himself has said it could never be made now, but he's proud it was. Final thoughts. Blazing Saddles is more than just a comedy, it's a wild ride through satire,